So I'm reading Matthew McConaughey's book at the minute. It's just all about finding your frequency, boy.
Oh wow!
all right.
All right.
Yeah, so I suppose. Welcome to episode 8 of the Opinionated Podcast, everybody. You're joined with the now solidified team, really, of Jack and Matthew.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, say hello there, lads.
Buenos dias.
How is lockdown 2.0 treating you two?
That's
That was a very exasperated groan there.
Groans intensify.
Is it just me, or does it actually not feel like a lockdown for some reason?
I don't think you're fairly bang on there. I think there's like the roads aren't anywhere near as quiet as they were. Like I remember with the first one, like it was like a ghost town. If you went anywhere, like even just to go to the shop, it's just there was nobody around, nobody on the roads. The town, like your ass was fucking dead. Like there was nobody around.
Yeah, I think even our morale is just kind of like, oh, do we even fucking care anymore? Like if we're stuck at home.
It's kind of become the norm, though, hasn't it? Like it's just kind of seeped into our kind of like daily life now, that it's just kind of part and parcel that we kind of try and stay at home as much as possible. But like I think even the just restriction into your own county, I think a lot of people are kind of moving around their own county a bit more just to kind of get out the house for a bit. Yeah, maybe that's why there's still a good bit of traffic and stuff.
Have you any tips for surviving lockdown 2.0? I know Matthew is going to be copious amounts of Red Bull anyway, that's for sure.
No. There's a time and a place for that. There's a time and a place. You can only you can only theorize of so many conspiracy theories every day. No,
this is coming from the man who it worked out how many Red Bull it'd take to kill you. So
you'd drown yourself before you'd kill yourself with Red Bull now, to be honest. We established that fact. But no, I think I don't know. If you're finding yourself stuck for things to do, I don't know, I suppose pick up a good book, or it's a great time to get back into reading. I think a lot of people don't read as much as they used to these days.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I keep meaning to get this book. No, I haven't read it, but by all means,
you keep meaning to get it, you haven't read it yet. That was kind of implied.
All right, Thomas. But by all accounts, it sounds like a fantastic book. It's no, I'm gonna probably pronounce his name all fucking wrong. It's McConaughey. He's a I suppose an etymologist, but the book is 32 ways to say field or something like that. No, 32 words for field. That's what it is. And he just goes through the etymology of like the Irish language and all, and where and how words became what they did, and the links between different cultures, Irish cultures and all.
Ooh.
Sounds good.
Etymologist sounds like a big word, though, doesn't it?
It's basically just the study of where words came from.
Is that just a glorified Susie Dent then, is it?
Something like that, yeah.
What are you reading at the moment, Matthew?
I'm starting to get into James O'Brien. I never read his first book there. How to Be Right, the first one? Yeah. He has a new book out this week called How Not to Be Wrong. Yeah. So in preparation of getting that as a little Christmas stocking filler, I said I'd get into that, because I don't know, he's just such a truly fascinating figure that I've been meaning to kind of delve into.
He really is probably
no better time to do so.
He really is probably the most intelligent journalist, or I don't even know what you'd really describe him as.
I think he holds all the brain cells in Britain at the moment.
He does. His show on LBC is just so interesting.
Yeah, I was just about to say it. Like he's just, you'd listen to him all day if he was on all day.
Sometimes you don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he could be talking about the most like out there topic, but like he has the most kind of like easy to listen, soothing voice. Like I'd love if he made like one of those like is it like those calm like sleeping help podcasts. Like, oh, he'd be amazing at that. Like,
just a story about a Tory cunt.
Yes, the death of the Tories.
I suppose that's not a bad segue into what you were saying earlier, Matthew, about mental health really being, as we've seen with the news. We won't really get into the news because it's quite bleak.
No.
But
we don't want to delve too much into it. We're trying not to be a depression session podcast, but yeah, no, it's an important issue. Like at the minute, like COVID alone is a trying time for everyone, amplifying pressures that are already present everywhere, not just in Ireland, but in Britain or everywhere across the world. Like I think the statistic is 60 men are lost every hour to suicide. Along with I'm not too familiar now of the statistics for female suicide rates, but 60 men anyway are lost every hour, which is like insane to think. Like not just in Ireland, like everywhere across the world. Like that's a pretty staggering stat.
And men seem to still struggle with this thing of talking, don't they? Like, and especially now we're working from home, it's very solitary. So like,
big time. Yeah. I think the term bottling up is kind of coming back, like COVID with locking down as well, especially for people like living on their own or like maybe like they have recently bought a house and they're on their own. Like the contact is very limited. But yeah, no, I don't know. Today I've said to myself I'm committed to the Movember challenge of doing 60 kilometers throughout November, running or walking, and going to try and grow some sort of stash anyway. It's something I've immensely struggled with in the past, but sure, look, I'll come up with something pathetic, but it's the thought that counts. I think Movember is a tremendous cause.
Wait till you see now.
Recommend
the 1st of December, he'll come in with a yard brush, fucking
I wish
a mustache like
Lemmy here.
Stalin. Stalin.
I doubt it'd be of Stalinist proportions. I'd say it'd be more aiming towards like a Willie O.D. kind of little scrutty thing now. But sure, we can live and dream. We can live and dream.
Are you raising money for that, or are you just doing donations through their own website?
Well, I'll probably set up some sort of sponsorship scheme for the running or walking 60 kilometers, but I haven't really kind of got that far yet. I've just kind of said to myself today, after doing a bit of research, that I'm going to commit to this program.
Sure,
I think it's a great cause.
When you do so up on, we'll advertise it here on the podcast, and people can chip in. Every little bit helps, doesn't it, Jack?
Exactly.
And I'd ask everyone, man, woman, or child, to consider attempting the challenge as well. Everyone to their own, but definitely to do the running or walking 60 kilometers in aid of it. I think it's a very good cause.
We're a very charitable podcast lately, aren't we?
Yeah, very charitable.
We're just looking at
helping the homeless and helping. Movember is for cancer, isn't it?
Everything. So mental health, prostate cancer.
You kind of choose a charity or can choose to donate to all of them if you want, isn't it? I'm just trying to think back to when my father did it a few years ago. Now it wasn't much good to me because anybody that knows me, like, you know. Yeah. But just thinking back, like I'm pretty sure he did it with a group, and I'm pretty sure they donated it to I think it was the Irish Cancer Society. You know, but no matter what,
sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, no matter what your charity is, it's always a worthy cause.
Yeah, perhaps even us as a trio could probably organise a group kind of thing. Maybe like ask around a few friends or something to kind of join the group.
Definitely.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it'd be worth looking into.
I'll have a mustache like Stalin, like you.
I'd say you two now would trump me, but pardon the pun. But
this is about the extent of mine that you see there now. So. It's not going to get much better than this.
You're a bit far gone, George, actually.
Yeah, I just shave it all off and start again.
Give us a chance.
Yeah.
I suppose we should probably get into a bit of politics, because that's what the podcast is kind of about, isn't it? Or is it anymore? I don't really know. We kind of just
I don't know. Well, my curveball isn't even a curveball this week. It's nothing to do with politics.
We're very
There's no
loose on
curve
this
on this
podcast.
ball.
We're just all about opinions.
I've actually was listening to the Tommy Hector and Loretta Blewett podcast today. I don't mind saying the name of it because it is absolutely fantastic.
It's amazing.
Tommy Tiernan went off on a tangent about how Honda 50s were the sole reason why the Taliban were getting blown up. And I just thought, that's what I aspire to be on this podcast.
It's just a whole nother level of
It's
great. It's a
amazing.
great podcast. Thoroughly recommend it to any of our listeners.
It's so, what's the word? Heartwarming.
So different.
Just to hear normal conversations between three people, like
no filter.
And no filter.
Mention the
Exactly.
news or anything like that. It's just stories.
Just stories from their own stories. Just it's like sitting down, just having a chat with somebody.
Having the crack.
So, Tommy and Hector, if you want to have us on or you want to come on here, we're up for that.
Either or.
I'm down to go into your shed.
I suppose we better get into some serious stuff. And I don't think there's anything being more serious this week than the mother and baby home archives being sealed, which I'm glad that our podcast is going to do a bit on this, because there has been a complete media blackout. I think RTE have just abandoned it since the night it was voted down by the government. And I think even Luke Ming O'Flanagan was saying this, that it's despicable the way it's been dealt with here. So Jack, maybe your thoughts on that, your initial thoughts.
Well, I have fairly strong thoughts on this situation. When I saw the idea that was proposed in the first place, I said, surely that won't pass. And then when I saw that it did pass, honestly, I was livid. I think it's an utter disgrace that it's been sealed. And I think it just goes to show that this Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and now even more so the Greens, they have no interest in the good of the people. They say they do. They say that this was for the good of the people, but I find it very, very hard to see. I find it so disrespectful, and just it baffles me. It baffles me to think that they thought that this would be a good idea to seal this information away after the 796, not just babies, 786 babies and children. Some children even as old as 9 were thrown into that septic tank over the course of 30 years.
It's just despicable, isn't it? There's no.
I get, even talking about it, I get so angry. Like it's just beyond me. And for somebody, I'm kind of going off a little bit off topic here, but for like, I'm not going. I don't preach to anybody about their faith or their beliefs, and people are entitled to believe what they want. But for somebody to stand there and to blatantly shout and roar at me that it wasn't anything to do with the institution, my own belief. I find it very hard to believe in a God that can cause such hardship and such suffering, and amongst the people that he has the authority over, supposedly. I find it very hard to believe that there's a God who can, if he is omnipresent and all being and everything is done by his will. I find it so hard to believe that a man like that or a being like that would cause that. I can't even describe how I feel about it.
I think for me, just what you're saying about how God would allow that, I think, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. The Catholic Church have a history of riddling our country with abuse and corruption, and as we've seen this week, it's still going. And thanks to Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and the Greens, it's still going to go on longer for another 30 years. And I think the three of us know that 30 years' time, there's going to be another vote, and it'll more than likely be resealed again if those two parties are still there.
Yeah,
because they have a lot to lose. But I think in Ireland, the religion the texts are pure, but it's just the people that were just power went to their heads, those priests, those nuns, those people in charge. And I think they've been vindicated once again in this. It's a shame for this republic, really. I don't know about you, Matthew. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I share pretty strong views as the two of you. I think it's completely dehumanizing, almost how that it was, the whole bill, I think, was very rushed. Like, it was kind of rushed along to be passed and voted on, and the whole 30 years thing wasn't explained virtually whatsoever. It was kept like on the record, but no one kind of knew like why. It kind of rings alarm bells to me of some sort of cover up, which I think our state today is utterly ashamed to be related to such an atrocious act of atrocities from the Catholic state that we once had. Now, I was looking into this because I personally didn't really read up too much on like the whole news of it, but like there was such a lack of it that it was very hard to kind of find much information on it. But they were essentially what RTE and the Journal.ie were informing me was that the bill was to safeguard the records in recognition of the Commissions of Investigations Act 2004, which meant that any bill passed would have to be sealed for 30 years. So because isn't the commission being dissolved in 2021, so all the records would essentially be destroyed if there wasn't a bill that secured them for longer. No, but there's this. Wasn't there? The General Data Protection Regulation then was introduced. I think it was in 20. I can't actually remember what year it was, but it was recently enough anyway. Was passed, and that apparently superseded this 2004 Act, which meant that the 30 years malarkey is unjust and isn't lawful. It's essentially just hearsay. Now, I think there tonight, it has been confirmed by the Attorney General that the survivors have been granted access in acknowledgement of this GDPR law to the records. Now, I don't know how true that is. I saw it on Twitter there just before we started recording this podcast. But
I didn't see that now.
Even still, though, if it's not being publicly given access to, I think it's quite concerning as to like the purpose of this covering up or concealment of these records.
I believe there's something there. There's something damaging. There's obviously something damaging to the state.
Oh, of course, there has to be. There has to be. Like, they wouldn't have. There'd have been something else in that legislation if it meant that if it wasn't damaging to them, to the government or to the state, there would have been something else in that legislation that would have allowed them to be released now, I think, rather than sealing them. You know,
there'd also be more information, like publicly in the public eye. I think. Yeah. I think that was a big thing among. Is it Maeve Clark, the spokeswoman for the survivors? She kind of says that it doesn't have to be so private. Like it is quite an atrocious thing that it should be kind of publicly talked about. That it shouldn't be kind of hidden away from the public.
Yeah.
So my problem with this is that it's not for historians to divulge in 30 years' time. It's not an archive where we should be left to define a narrative of the state and all that shite. Like, the survivors wanted this. the families that were involved wanted this. So I just don't see why those three parties decided to vote against the wishes of those people.
Yeah.
Or is it just an arrogance that's built up, I don't know, in the state?
I think it's all self-preservation as far as
100%.
it goes, and I think that's mostly evident with the Greens. Like, since the formation of the government, the Greens have seen members jump ship, with a steady stream
daily.
But since the weekend, like who was it? There was a member of the chair, member of the council, the Cork City Council.
Yeah.
She left the party. The head of the chairperson of the Ogra, the Green Ogra, she was it.
Well,
they left the party as well, and not just stepped down, left the party. And the same with the queer Greens. The leader of that sector of the party stepped down and left the party too.
They're shambles, really, and we can clearly see they're being bullied in government.
Yeah, without doubt. I think that what the Greens stand for has, like, they've never gone further from what they actually stand for, like, in terms of, like, I know obviously the Greens being kind of like the climate change party or whatever, but it I don't know, there definitely seems to be an element of like collusion between the three, of kind of like, by sticking together we'll kind of survive, as a kind of a survival of the fittest element, because I think they know themselves, I think, that they're in deep trouble if they don't stick together, because if there's any kind of chasm in this kind of relationship, that
they'll be picked apart.
They'll be destroyed by Sinn Féin or any other kind of coalition government that we see in the future.
But I even see now that, like, People Before Profit and the Social Democrats, they are really at their heels the whole time. Not just Sinn Féin. The whole opposition is kind of
the whole opposition. Yeah.
It may not be in unison, but they're definitely engaged together. Like,
Yeah, I might not necessarily agree with some of what the opposition says, but the vast majority of it, I would.
Apart from Labour, I would say, are still a little bit of an outlier.
Yeah, I would be inclined to think that the Solidarity People Before Profit, they tend to be a bit extreme in their views, I think, as well.
But they're actively engaged.
But they are. They're fulfilling the role as opposition.
Yeah. So I feel like this government is up against a good opposition, a strong Sinn Féin, and smaller parties that are nipping at their heels.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's sorry to just jump in. I think it's like in the recent statistic polls of popularity, I think it's quite concerning how I think Fine Gael rose by 2 points to 37%. They're the most popular party in Ireland still. I think it's still quite concerning how that they are so popular. Like Fianna Fáil, I think, are up by 1% as well to 11%. Sinn Féin still number 2, but I think there's a massive need for change in this country. I think we have far too many career politicians like that in the current government that we have now, that are trying to maintain their power, to prolong it, to benefit from it at the cost of others. And there's a greater need for, like, us young folk and up and
diversity as well, like
to get engaged with politics, though, because I think, I don't know, we're becoming far too we're leaning far too much towards this kind of system of conservatism, and I don't think, not saying now that we need to go all radical Randy Boo, but we can't fall into the trap of just restarting the cycle of supporting two parties that essentially have just almost destroyed our country on several occasions down the decades and years.
Just because your granddad prayed to Devil Air doesn't mean you have to, like, you know what I mean? It's
no.
there needs to be a big shake up here, and I think I think the emergence of Sinn Féin is an all-round good thing, even if you're not a Sinn Féin supporter. It's going to, like, Fianna Fáil have to reevaluate where they are, because, let's be real, half of them don't have confidence in Micheál Martin. Jim McCallan is waiting in the sidelines to slit his throat at any minute. You know, Fine Gael, a bit aloof with the youth, if we can put kindly towards them. And the Greens in complete disarray. So,
but that's just like with reference to the Greens. That's just the Greens all over. The Greens are dreamers with no way of getting there. Like
but I don't even think they can dream anymore, though, can they? Because
no, they can't, because there's always somebody on their heels, like always saying, you know, cop the fuck on a bit, like.
Yeah.
You know?
It's because their agenda, though, doesn't appeal to anyone. Like, they're meant to be that party that you kind of go for like, all right, you'll get some improvements in relation to tackling climate change and whatever. But then when your only kind of campaign model is based around like a carbon tax, which completely will just destroy your popularity, like the first thing you want to do is get people behind you, not like people to be like turn into a mob and kind of attack you. Like, you know,
they don't even attract the environmentalists anymore, because they're not
because they've deranged so far from being environmentalists. They've now just, I don't know, they're kind of fallen into the trap of, like, as what the independents were in the last government, that they were kind of used just as kind of to form the coalition and
the numbers,
the number makers, and it doesn't do them any favors in the future.
Well, they saw Labour being put to the sword in the last kind of.
Yeah, it's happened to Labour, it's happened to the Independents, and now it's the Greens.
They're the scapegoats.
Yeah, and of course, Eamon Ryan just walked straight into that trap.
Eamon Ryan. I'm convinced the man just has forgotten how to think.
He's the true definition of a sleepy Joe, isn't he?
Oh my god! And like, I another part of this as well. I'm kind of wondering, is he just, in some part of him, is he just wanting to go along with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael because he knows if they go against the Greens, go against the government, the likelihood is the government will collapse.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering, is he terrified that if the government does collapse, is he going to lose his position as leader of the Green Party?
Definitely, I think he loses his position anyway eventually.
Well,
you know? like you said, they're dropping like fries. There'll be no Green Party to elect him anymore. So,
that's it.
Do you like a curveball to brighten things up slightly? Maybe.
Oh,
yeah. We're going down a dark path here. Time to change routes. Let's go.
Now, I have a very Trump-ish curveball, but I think, he's said this a couple of times, and I'm not quite sure what to think. Please don't let this stream into racism, but it should not, because we condone that here, obviously, on the podcast. But my curveball this week is, should China pay reparations for the coronavirus?
I'm going to take this one. No.
Go for
it. Like, all right, it may or may not have stemmed from China. But, like, does that mean that in the 50s with the Kansas flu, does that mean America has to pay reparations to the rest of the world for the Kansas flu, like, or
that's about China, Jack, not Kansas?
I know,
sorry,
I'm just using them as an example. All right, Thomas. Like, you know, I'm the same with the Spanish flu in 1918. Like, does wherever that stemmed from Spain?
It actually come from Spain? No, it didn't actually.
No. Kansas.
I actually read that today. It didn't come from Spain.
Yeah. That's right. But should the Americans have to pay reparations to the rest of the world then, if that's the case? Like, which I'm sure they would be very quick in saying that definitely not. I honestly don't think so.
So you're in the no camp. I have a slight follow up to the question.
Sorry, just to clear up that they shouldn't have to pay reparations if it's naturally occurring.
That was my next part of the question.
Yeah.
Well, if it's created in a lab,
then that's a different story. That is a different story.
Are you hard on reparations then if it's in a lab?
reparations are tough. I think they should have some sort of accountability. Yeah, I suppose reparations is probably the only way to go. If that is the case, like.
Are you a reparations man, Matthew? Are you going to go full Donald and demand money?
No, like I don't know. I think there's a lot of facts that need to be clarified. I'm kind of in the agreement with Jack. Like, if no other kind of flu or pandemic has ever been like given reparations in response to it, like, why should China be targeted? But I don't know. It's all comes down to the circumstances as to how COVID came about. I think, like, first thing, if it was man-made or if it did come from like bats and so on and so forth. But then
so many fucking stories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all these rumors. But then the next thing, if it was man-made in a lab, then how, like, was it purposefully released, or was it just a scientific accident that it was released? These things can happen. Like, we've had many major disasters, like in terms of nuclear. Like, we look at Fukushima in Japan and Chernobyl in Pripyat. These things have to be confirmed before any kind of accountability can be determined. Of course, like, we know that it came from China, but to what extent was it done, like, on purpose or by accident? That needs to be determined before we can start pointing fingers, I think.
If you accidentally walked out of a lab infected with coronavirus, that would be a pretty shit day at work, like, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty poor.
Just look forward to going home, putting the feet up, and then the whole world is just shut down.
This may be a spoiler alert, but if Borat 2 is anything to go by, it didn't originate in China at all.
Yeah.
Do you
want to talk about Borat, actually, or do you want to?
I might speak a little bit about it.
Well, it's probably the most politically motivated thing that's happened this week, anyway. So.
It really is, like, and probably one of the most controversial things to happen with regards to American presidential election.
Yeah, there was a lot of content in that, wasn't there?
There was a lot
of hidden digs.
I think probably the highlight was Mike Pence's face, just as he, like, I won't ruin the film, but Mike Pence's face was absolutely brilliant.
Priceless.
The whole idea of it is just amazing. Like,
I will say that I did kind of struggle to, like, determine which was set up and which was a hidden camera thing. And that kind of just maybe ruined it a little bit for me. I don't know about you.
What I got from it, and from looking at interviews that Sacha Baron Cohen has done, the vast majority of it, anywhere where Borat is in disguise, was set up. Because even this scene, like this, I don't think this ruins anything, but this scene where he goes to that Trump rally, or it's not so much a Trump rally, but it's I suppose it is, and he dresses up as a cowboy and starts singing a pro-Trump song. At the end of that, where in the film where it shows Borat running off stage, what it doesn't show is that Sacha Baron Cohen actually ran to a filming truck, jumped in the back of it because he was being chased by men with guns. And this, I saw the actual clip. There was actual footage of this.
Jesus.
They were, I know. He was inside the van dressed up as Borat, dressed up as a cowboy. And they started banging on the outside of the van, like screaming at him, come out here, or get out of here. And he said, they started trying to pull the door open, and it shows Sacha Baron Cohen holding the door closed as people are trying to get in at him. Like, it's scary. Like, he said, as he was running off stage, a man was actually going for his gun to shoot him. Like,
fucking hell. He's really dedicated to his art, though, isn't he?
He is, in fairness.
What did you think of it, Matthew? Did you get a chance to see it yet?
Yeah, no, I watched it there over my bank holiday weekend. It was a funny watch, but I think I'm in complete agreement with Seth MacFarlane that Sacha Baron Cohen, I think, understands America better than any American could possibly understand America at the minute.
Yeah.
His social commentary is just so good, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Those scenes are so up to date and cutting edge, you know?
Yeah. And they're
you
so
really
well.
get.
Like he leads people in. He leads people into the situation that he wants them to be in.
Yeah.
But not without manipulating them, if you get me. He gets them to divulge their views and how they see themselves.
He never presses someone. Like
he's able to just get people to open up to him, even though he is a man going very nice. Like, he's utterly absurd, but it still works.
Yeah,
it's funny. It was a good watch. There was some parts.
It's a great glimpse into like how the other lives across the sea. But it's eye opening. It's really eye opening.
Really is.
I enjoyed it now. I think I was actually a fan of like Ali G and all that stuff as well. You know, and the Brothers Grimsby and all these other films. They're hilarious as well.
Yeah, I still have to say I like Borat is definitely his best creation.
Ali G was quite good as well, but Borat
Ali G was good, but Borat is I think he is just pure genius, like, because it's clever. It's not just stupid and silly. It's clever, like, you know.
Yeah.
It's so cunning.
There's actual thought and skill gone into
real ingenuity behind it. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw an interview he did as Ali G with Donald Trump today. Actually, I was just watching it for years back, and he was like pitching the idea of like gloves to stop ice cream from dripping on your hands. Like, and Trump just gets up and walks out. You know what I mean? It's just so funny. Yeah.
Oh, actually, with regards to that, did you see Kazakhstan has adopted Borat's motto?
Yeah.
They've actually.
He's put Kazakhstan on the map. Very nice.
Banned from there as well, though, isn't he? Like,
yeah. The last film they banned him. This time they adopted his slogan.
And didn't he did a thing where he like pretended that the Premier Nazarbayev came on stage. And like Kazakhstan spent like $30 million trying to prove that it wasn't their premier.
They really take everything to heart.
I admire their Kazakhstan's way. They don't let anyone blot their copybook, like, do they?
Well, this is the same country where their dictator had a number of words changed to his name. I can't remember his name. Here, I'll look it up there while we're talking.
Yeah.
But they're
such a good film. It was what lockdown needed. I think it was a bit of a laughter.
Oh,
absolutely.
A lot of very, very, very odd fucking scenes, but a good laugh.
Sure. It's a distraction before the major event of is it November 6th, November 3rd, the election?
Yeah, it's something like 7 or 8 days away now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only less than a week.
What that's actually was my next point. Speaking of Sacha Baron Cohen showing a glimpse of Donald Trump supporters, how do you think the Donald is going to get on in the run into the election?
Do you want to go ahead, Matthew?
There's a lot of inhaling there.
Yeah,
inhaling.
Like, I don't know. I thought the second debate. I haven't watched the entirety of it now, but I've watched majority of it. I think, I don't know, Trump performed a lot better than he did in the first anyway. There was just in general the kind of the decorum that was held in this one was of a much higher standard from two presidential candidates. Now there was still a bit of arguing and toing and froing, but it was much more kind of cordial. If that's the word to use there for that. But no, like, I don't know. At the minute, like, he seems to be fairly static around the 40-45% popularity rate. But like, as the last election with Hillary Clinton showed, that popularity doesn't really mean much when it comes to the college electorate. But even now, as it stands, I think Biden almost has double the college electorate votes with like he's pretty much secured all the major states bar Florida and Texas. So I think they're the two major ones to secure for if you're a Trump supporter, to have a fighting chance even to compete with Biden.
Biden is actually ahead in Texas by 3%. I saw during the week. That would be a big loss to the Republican Party, like to have Texas probably the most Republican state.
Yeah, exactly. It's so renowned to vote Republican that if it does swing, it could be the end of like the Republican dream under Trump anyway.
Yeah, I have the latest polls there from 3 hours ago. It's on the New York Times. According to them, Biden is on 49% and Trump is on 41%.
Oh, he's dropped even more.
They are closing.
Mm.
Yeah, it's going to be a tense kind of few days, isn't it? Because let's be honest, nobody wants Donald Trump to be president again. Like, if you have any brain cell. And let's be honest, nobody really wants Joe Biden anyway. But he's
no, he's the lesser of two evils. So,
I think Joe's a good man, though. You know what I mean? I think that's what it's coming down to now.
He definitely seems to be the family guy anyway. Like, the amount of times he just completely like turned away from the question and just pointed at the camera, "Hey, you."
The American people.
Yeah. Like,
and I'm after seeing more like videos of him calling his grandkids and all. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like
he's kind of like that kind of proud family figure that like I don't know, he seems more kind of relatable at the minute and compared to Trump. You just can't relate to Trump unless you're like a white bigot like
or Jeffrey Epstein, sorry.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I think Joe has it in the bag at this point. I'd be very surprised if there's a slip up.
Yeah, it's a pity you can't string a sentence together though without reading it.
And also probably the highlight of that debate was him. Like, I don't even want to say comparing himself to Abraham Lincoln, but
Jesus,
probably saying that what did he say? At a push, Lincoln could be compared to him as being the most helpful president in terms of race relations. So Donald Trump is now the great emancipator.
There's a sketch. I suppose there's this TikTok page that's been set up, and they're kind of a sketch group. Yeah, they're a couple of lads that just do sketches. They're just called Donald.
You talking about reparations for China, and you're giving them all your data.
China. But there's this page, and it's Donald and Abe, and it's basically just the two of them talking, and it is comedy gold. It's amazing.
I'll have a look at it for the next podcast.
Yeah.
In my seat as host this week, I'm offering an extra point next week for who can guess the percentages in the election. So the actual percentage vote that each is going to get. So whoever's closest, there's 2 points on the table. If you get Trump's right and Biden's right, you get 2 points.
Population-wise?
Yeah. So like the popular vote. Go on then, Jack. You first.
Oh shit. Right. I'm going to say Trump is going to get more than 41% or 40 or 41%. I said he was on, isn't it?
Yeah. I need an exact percentage. I need an exact percentage here.
He's going to get 43% for Trump, and I'm going to say 40. No, that's wrong because that won't work, will
it? Well, no, you could get an instance where like there's definitely going to be people that won't vote. Like, so it more than likely will be in the 40s, both of them, or slightly just in the 50s.
I'm going to go just out of 100%. I'm just going to go 47 Trump, 53 Biden.
Right, 47 Trump. Yeah, you see, you remember that because I won't fucking remember that.
I'll write it down.
Actually, just out of curiosity, is there anyone else on the ballot? Like any like fucking wacko from like fucking?
Isn't like Kanye West now on the ballot, or like he can be? There's an option to write his name in as like an extra candidate.
Fucking hell!
I think there's two. I remember seeing this a while ago that there's like it's just Trump and Biden at the minute, but like there's an option, other candidate, please specify kind of option. And well, Kanye West would be like the alternative. God forbid that happened. Like, I love Kanye West as any other hip hop fan would, but like, oh God.
He ain't no president.
It's not what America needs right now. It's not what America needs right now.
Just rocking up to fucking major trade deals with a pair of Yeezys on them. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a good look for politics, is it?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. He probably could do a better job than Trump, to be honest. But I don't know. As a kind of a progression, I think it'd be a step backwards, not having someone with some political experience anyway.
I think that's saying something. A step backwards from Trump, I think, is saying something.
Yeah. But I think like that's what most like. I was watching Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez's Twitch stream. I thought that was a brilliant idea, by the way. Streaming on Twitch, the gaming streaming platform, to get across to people to vote. I think that was a fantastic idea. I think she was saying that literally like anyone could do better than Trump as well. But like, yeah, I think, I don't know, going back to my percentage prediction.
Oh yeah.
I've
forgotten Jack's already, so
I think I said it in the last time we were talking about this, that I think America has a huge kind of hidden support for Trump. I don't think he'll win. I think if we're going off the 100% voting attendance, I'd say 51-49 for Biden. I think it's going to be tighter than we think. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah. I would have to say I'm going to go 52-48.
Okay.
For Biden?
Yeah. No, for Kanye West.
We're getting close.
I actually am quite tense about this election, though. I feel like there's a lot riding on it. Because I feel like I've been burned twice. I was burned in with his first election, and then like I went to bed when Brexit was happening. It's like Brexit could never happen. And then I woke up the next morning, like Europe is broken. So I'm quite like afraid of what happens now in every election.
It's like someone definitely got like a Ouija board out like that night and just ruined the world.
Yeah,
like
that was great.
What could go wrong went very, very wrong.
Yeah. Has anyone got any curveballs?
It
seems like that part of the show where we used to get a bit fucking a bit wacky.
Well, if you want to go wacky, I suppose we could go with my own. Mine's not so much a curveball; it's more a conspiracy theory, and I probably know the answer to it, but I just wanted to clear things up a little.
Cloning again, is it?
No. It's not cloning. I just want to thank Des for the idea for it. He put it in my mind earlier on, and he triggered a fact I had heard earlier on or yesterday. So, the moon landings, did they happen?
Go ahead, Matthew.
Did we not talk about this before? But
we did. Maybe we all start with the moon on this fucking podcast.
We went through a phase of a moon obsession there. Are you saying, are they fake, or
were they faked, or did they?
I don't know. It seems like a lot of effort to go to the moon just to fake it. Like,
they didn't fake it then if they went to the moon.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I think like the
just
whole
to the
story
moon, green screen up or something. This is like
like there's so much kind of like hype about NASA and their like space missions that I think it would almost be kind of unthinkable that it didn't happen. Obviously, there's conspiracy theorists out there that believe that it was staged and that it never actually happened. But I don't know. I think it seems like too much effort to go through to not do it. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I personally think it did happen. Like I don't know why it wouldn't have. But yeah. I don't know, that's my very confusing opinion on it. But
I'm like, I definitely think it happened, because for the simple fact, China or Russia would be after proving that it's a fake by now. Was it like 50 years since this happened? Like, surely to fuck, like someone would have got fired from NASA and just went, "Hey, do you remember that thing we did? Yeah, it was fake." Like, you know, I just think
imagine
it's
though, imagine that, like, okay, so let's say if it was faked, but by America, but it was a Russian or a Chinese astronaut that actually did it. Would it be like, right, okay, like we're winning the Cold War, but we really need this. So like we're gonna say we land on the moon, but we all know like some Russian cosmonaut did it, like, and we'll pay off in some offshore bank account, just like Trump has in China, and we'll be happily ever after. That could be a possibility, but
yeah, but see, I don't think Nixon was that smart though, is he? Like,
I don't know. He did so much scandal during that presidency that I wouldn't put it past him, really.
Can you imagine him just going to the Chinese, just going, "We have got a moon."
We shall have the moon landing.
Yeah.
And here, I'll give you this fact just to ease your nerves a little bit on the situation. With the technology that the world had at the time, or the Americans had at least, it would have cost 3 times more to fake it than it would have to actually go to the moon.
Jesus, yeah. Well, like I suppose like green screen technology and everything wasn't there at the time and stuff. Like just to even make a kind of a life size kind of moon, even I'd say would cost a pretty penny.
You should have just got the Beatles to do it
there. Some space cadets.
Yeah, so it would have cost 3 times more to actually fake it than to go to the moon. Like,
isn't that nuts though when you think about it? Isn't it? Like,
it's crazy. Like, it's crazy.
I suppose all I do is I don't know much about space. To me, all I do is build a rocket, fill it with diesel, and away you go. Like,
back out pit stop somewhere along the way.
couple of sandwiches and a flash of tea, and away you go. You know,
€3 meal deal somewhere in a topaz along the way.
But like to think that. Jesus, the thing that costs 3 times more. I don't know how much it even. That's mind blowing.
Yeah, there's.
Do you think it happened, Jack?
Of course.
It was faked.
I have the NASA documents right here.
It's all a lie. Yeah, like the whole thing about it, even just the facts about it. I think it was just. I do believe it happened. Because I don't see a reason to fake it. I know there was the whole space race and everything, like, but like, in all fairness, I don't. I think it's a pretty.
It doesn't matter if it was fake. Like, it's inspired a generation of scientists and kids to dream and to look at the moon and think, I want to learn, and you know what I mean. So like, even if it is a fake, is it a good story that the world needed?
Yeah, I suppose it is.
It was an element of hope during a pretty
shit time.
Horrid time.
Yeah.
Like you just come out of a war. You're in a Cold War, and you know what I mean. Yeah. It's like good just to go. See that thing up there? Yeah, we fucking landed on that.
Yeah.
Saying that it costs 3 times more than it would to actually do it. Like I wouldn't put it past them though. At the same time, like they were so obsessed with the arms race and like technologically being advanced compared to like the subpar Soviet like jobs. Like I honestly wouldn't put it past them. Like I don't know. I'm not saying I'm on the fence, but like
you're on the fence.
No, I could very much see the hype. Like there's plenty of kind of stats, I suppose, and kind of figures that you like. The amount of money they spent during that period was insane. Same like Trump now in his campaign that's going to utterly fail, and he's almost spent like $1 billion on it. Like it's insane.
Didn't Reagan have like Star Wars? Wasn't that the thing? Like the
oh yeah,
intergalactic fucking protection for America. That's the world just fucking nuts back then, like, you know what I mean? Like,
just chuck all the money into space, it'll be fine.
We can't even get like street lamps anymore, like when they were sending fucking hamsters to the moon, like, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy though, like to think that they actually did send people to the moon with the processing power that they had with computers wise, like I think there's 1,000 times more processing power in our phones now than they had at the time. Like,
it's insane, yeah, how much even that's like a simple technology that we take for granted now has advanced in that amount of time. It's unthinkable, unimaginable, really, like how that we are capable of such advancement in such a short period of time.
They had smart working class people who put a fucking grind in for the shift, like, didn't they? Do you know what I mean? Proper old school maths dudes, like, you know what I mean?
never mind the
that know their times tables and don't rely on a Casio calculator.
You know what I mean? Old school, like, that was, you know what I mean? We couldn't do it now because we wouldn't be fucking arsed.
A computer can do it for us.
Yeah.
Well, they reckon
that's the way we're becoming.
Going to talk about just that kind of whole not being arse and scientists kind of shit. It's not really space related, but scientists in Bern in Switzerland with the Hadron Collider, they reckon that they may be able to make contact with a parallel universe in the coming months.
We don't need to, like, why do we need to do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, I can't be arsed listening to people outside. Why would I want to listen to fuckers in a different universe? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. No one cares. Like,
do you not have a natural curiosity to know what's out there?
No, I don't have a natural curiosity to know what's going on in the other room. Like, I literally do not care. Like, you know, it's like, oh, why do we need to do this to ourselves? Like, we torment ourselves to know more about, like, fucking aliens and shit. Like, when it's, I don't know, like, are they gonna go, oh, sorry lads, you know, we have this old virus there, and oh yeah, we have a cure for that. Like, them, all right, like, you know what I mean?
Well, sure, that's the thing. You never know.
It's I don't know, from being a bit of a sci-fi nerd, you kind of do fear, like, if they do kind of make contact with whatever is on the other side, you could awaken a beast that could be like
Avengers just happens again. Sky is like full of fucking monsters and shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people's curiosity can, like, sometimes be a seriously dangerous thing. Some things are meant to be left unknown rather than uncovered. But I don't know. I don't want to be completely pessimistic about it. I think it'd be a pretty cool opportunity to open up a parallel universe. Why the fuck not? Like, it couldn't be worse than what we currently have now. So
what was just really shit. Like, we spent all this like trillions on it, and the scientists, and we open up this portal, and the end of it is just a leg called Greg eating a pasty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like, what was just not exciting?
I don't know. Like, it's kind of one of those things that you have to explore. And sure, look, if it fails, it fails, and that's it. Sure, we're willing to spend that much money on, like, what could be pointless tasks.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm making the first rule on the Opinionated podcast. We're not allowed to talk about the moon for a while.
Yeah, no, we need to, like, avoid it as much as possible.
Fair.
We seem to be quite fascinated by the moon. I don't know why.
On next week's podcast, pyramids.
We interviewed John Lewis, man.
Desmond the Moon Bear from the SDF movies. Oh,
we sent Matthew, our reporter, to the moon to get the latest scoop.
There's nothing up here.
It's shite. Have you got a curveball, Matthew? I can see you're sitting on gold there. I see.
Sitting on gold, yeah. I'm sitting on a bed that doesn't even have a bed frame anymore because I'm doing it in my room at the minute. But I don't know. I don't know. I kind of took inspiration of Jack's kind of philosophical ways last week, and I don't know. I've been reading kind of a bit of philosophy because I'm a boring old fart. Anything to distract me from the current time, but I don't know. Here's a good one that I found anyway during the week was: is everything predetermined?
Ooh.
You're getting into some religious shit there now.
That's
it's not even. It doesn't have to be religious. But if you want to make it religious, by all means.
As host, I'm going to make Jack go first.
He has the power.
I can't see it being. outside of religion, I can't see it being possible. Now that doesn't mean that it isn't, but I honestly just can't see how anything would be predetermined. But then again, see, now you're confusing me, Matthew.
This was the purpose of this exercise.
You're going into some deep shit there. The more I talk about it and the more I try and think about it, the more tangents my brain comes up with.
Was this conversation predetermined?
No, I'm going to go back to my original point. I can't, like, outside of religion, I can't see it happening, and I don't particularly have a religion, so I don't see myself as being overly religious. I'd see myself as being fairly humanistic, but even the way the world has gone now, I've lost faith in humans, so I am. I don't know.
There's hope yet. There's three of us trying to brighten up someone's life out there. Yeah. Talking about all this turmoil.
This is a tough one, because I think the more you think about it, the worse it gets.
And you know me about doing things like that.
Yeah, you just go down a rabbit hole and you never come back out of it again. Predetermined. I'm just gonna, like, your daily life. Is your daily life predetermined? I think there's certain factors that may shove you down a certain road, but I just think there's so many variables. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to go back to the book I'm reading at the minute by the one and only true philosopher of the world, Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
The man's a genius. Like, I'm not religious either, but he's my pastor now. You know what I mean? But yeah, he keeps saying that you gotta turn red lights into green lights. You know what I mean? See, you make your own destiny. But I'm not sure. I don't know. Fucking hell, Matthew. Where did you get this fucking thing from?
I don't know. Like, you know me and rabbit holes. Like, I do go down them an awful amount of times. But no, I don't know. Like, I just came across it.
Where do you stand on it?
Like, where do I stand on anything, Jack? Like, is me standing in this room today? Like, no, I don't want to get into that wacky tobacco stuff. But
I think we're well into the wacky tobacco stuff.
Yeah, I suppose, like, if you believe that we're in a simulation, you'd say everything is predetermined. But, like, even suggesting that is a bit out there. And it's also...
Well, according to our podcast there a couple of weeks ago, it's not as out there as people may think anymore.
Yeah. It's a possibility, by all means. Like,
when does like predetermination start? Like, so did God...
I suppose God creating Earth would be like a kind of...
Yeah, but did he think that, like, in, like, 6,000 years' time...
God didn't have the free will or whatever to just... like, how did God even come into existence? Like, it's... But no, I don't know. Coming back to, like, real time, I suppose we have a kind of a certain ability to just, like, to lead us on a path. If, from what I've been reading and watching TED Talks on and stuff like this, absolutely wasting my time. Like, we can either be really defeatist and that'd lead us on a negative path, or we could have, like, huge aspirations that could either lead in greener pastures or utter rage after failing of coming down from such a high. But I don't know. I think we're all free to choose our own path to a certain extent.
We're all free to turn those red lights into green lights.
Yeah, exactly. We all have, like, kind of a reason to believe in doing something, and whether it's worth doing or not is the next question, and so on. But I don't know, I thought it was an interesting
something I've really thought about before.
Yeah. It's one that you wouldn't tend to think of, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
It wouldn't come up in everyday thoughts.
You wouldn't mention it in a pub anyway, you'd be just thrown out.
Just sitting in the corner of your room, rocking backwards and forwards, thinking, like, is this predetermined? Is this predetermined?
I could just, like, imagine making the dinner there and all of a sudden just stop and stare off in the distance. Is this predetermined?
That's me summed up in a nutshell.
I actually going back to the Tommy and Hector podcast, just something on this there. They were talking about Tommy training a young fella at football, and he said to one of his trainers that Jesus is an awful dreamer, and his trainer turned around and said to him, sure, maybe he's right. And they had a big conversation about that. And I think that maybe we should be dreaming about these things. Like, you know what I mean?
Like we mentioned earlier on that the Green Party are dreamers. It's all well and good being a dreamer, but you have to snap over as well sometimes too. Like,
yeah, but is it bad just to look at and stare at a tree for like 20 minutes during the day? Like,
definitely not. No, definitely not. I think it's even been scientifically proven now that daydreaming is good for us. It helps the mind.
It's an escape.
Sorry, this is completely unrelated to your topic. Sorry.
No, it's not so. I don't think, because it comes back to aspiration. Dreaming is an aspiration. So it's to what extent, though, do you dream something? Because if let's say, I don't know, your goal or your dream is to become a millionaire. Okay, yeah, that's an aspiration. But if you're overly keen on becoming a millionaire, it could destroy your life, as most businessmen have found. Like, I can't remember the name of the Netflix show now. Not The Highwaymen. I can't remember what it's called. But like, it goes into his life and just how fucking awful it was. Like, suffering from alcoholism, drug abuse. The list goes on. Like,
even the Wolf of Wall Street had everything, and just
exactly, yeah,
going until it burned. Like,
exactly. I think that the moral of the story is to have some aspiration. Like, you can't just be an ultra defeatist and say, "Oh, everything else is everything else is determined by someone else." I think no, you have to have some kind of goal, whether it be small or big. It doesn't have to be big. You can go step by step.
Yeah, I was just going to say there, I think it is important to have some sort of a purpose, maybe a purpose in life, to figure out your purpose in life.
It doesn't land at your feet either. It's
no, you have to actually
develop over time. I think.
Yeah, you have to think about it, and it's not something that you're just gonna automatically know.
And don't dwell on your setbacks, like.
No,
exactly.
Never. Just if you fail at something, or like, failure is always going to be beneficial in the long run, because you will learn from it. And
you turn that red light into a green light.
Dude, this is red light, green light has to be the title of this podcast or something.
Red light, green light.
All right. I'm telling you, read that man's book. It is life changing.
It sounds spiritual. It sounds spiritual.
That's what you're all getting for Christmas off me. Every one of this. I found my Bible, Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights.
Wow.
moving stuff.
I suppose just before we go, we should give an honourable mention to Marcus Rashford for his courageous attempt in England to feed hungry kids. And I am not a Man United fan. I hate Man United to the absolute core. But I have to admire Marcus Rashford. What a legend. You were looking at this as well, Matthew. What did you think?
Yeah, like, as any ABU fan, I don't think you can't have anything but the utmost respect and admiration to a man. I think he's a real talisman for like the youth in Britain. It's just truly admirable.
Says a lot about the Tories, though, doesn't it?
Oh, don't get me started on the Tories. We could be here a while. No, it's a disgrace as to how they rejected that feed. I can't remember what exactly it was called, but the school meal deal thing for the holidays.
basically, for anyone who doesn't know, the Tory government won't supply school lunches to kids during the Halloween break. And Marcus Rashford is already, didn't he get it for the summer break, wasn't it, first?
Yeah.
He got the thing overturned, but now they won't overturn it again. And through Rashford's amazing campaign, he's just got so many local businesses on board, hasn't he? He's almost feeding hungry kids.
He's shown the power of grassroots movements. I think it was similar as to how like AOC got the New York district congresswoman. Like she completely did it from the ground up, and this is what Marcus Rashford is doing in Britain. Like poverty has been such a problem in Britain for as long as like the British can remember. I was just listening to one of the talks I think it was the House of Lords. One of the Lords was saying that like the taste and smell of panic, like in the running up to school holidays, and like be it whether or not you'll have enough money to buy food for like I think his family was like 2 sons and a lone mother, so it was only 3, and it was the struggle was like intense. Like there was great pandemonium every year in the running up to like winter breaks and summer breaks, that like they didn't know if they'd have money to survive. Like, and the fact that this still remains in what like you'd consider Britain to be an economic one of the top 3, if not 4 economic powerhouses of the world, that this can be allowed to happen. It's kind of unthinkable. It's really surprising, I think, to me.
It's quite sad as well, isn't it? It's just like how how a footballer who's now even 21 or 22 needs to step up that much, really. It's
similar to the career politician point I made earlier. I think the Tories are becoming more and more as what I discovered, self-servitive rather than like conservative and providing a voice for their local communities. I think it's the Tory way, or a very old way, was like to not show kindness to poverty or to show charity to impoverished individuals, because if you show any ounce of charitable goodness in you, it'll bring all the masses to you looking for help. And that's such a backward way of thinking. I think in general, not even just talking about the poverty argument, I think in general the Tories are just on their hind legs. I say this every day when I'm talking about like British politics. I still don't understand how there hasn't been a complete overhaul of the British parliamentary system. I think it's the most backward way of running things in such a well-renowned like country. I just find it unfathomable. Like we're backward enough, but Jesus, these are uber backward.
It's ridiculous the way it works. It doesn't make sense. But I suppose that's where that's kind of what happens when you have colonial power that has too many countries to try and keep control of.
When you have a fella called Jacob Rees-Mogg in your fucking party as well. Like,
well, yeah.
That's the Mogster.
That creature.
I actually admire Mogg. He has a great deal of balls to like be as a prick as he is, like, doesn't he?
I don't think it's a matter of balls. I think it's just a matter of just being so attached to your colonial past. I think Britain, for the most part, is living in the past. They still think they're this great colonial superpower that kind of run the world, but it's not even like an atom of what they used to be. Like they're, I don't know. I don't know why you would still. I suppose it's a trap that many countries have fallen into. Like Germany has often, we all know this, in recent times has fallen into kind of a nationalism trap. But I think Britain is on the way down that path again. I think Brexit has just highlighted that the British Empire, the empire can be rekindled somehow or another. But I don't know how you can even begin to think that.
I can just see like Parliament in like 20 years' time being like Millwall versus Leeds, just those yobs just sitting there shouting at each other.
Absolutely tearing each other apart.
So we've been rambling on for nearly an hour and 16 minutes now, which is probably one of the longest podcasts we've done.
One of them anyway, yeah.
I don't want
big issues this week.
I don't want to put that down to my excellent stewardship there, Jack.
Yeah. We'll say that.
Jack will definitely be back in the hot seat next week, but I enjoyed a bit of time.
That's good. It went well.
It did. And I suppose at this point, Jack usually does the whole subscribe, follow, email, fax.
Can I just add something there?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, like, for this year, the Irish economy is going to struggle, and I think that's fairly obvious. And I think people are starting to look towards buying for Christmas now. The big C word. So what I would like to ask people is that rather than buying off these retail giants like Amazon or whatever, try and buy from Irish companies. Support our own economy. Let our money go back into our own economy.
Not Jeff Bezos' bank account.
Yeah, like don't be.
He's already rich enough as it is, guys. Come on.
Yeah, we don't need to be losing any more money. So, definitely, I think we should be. I'm just asking, buy as much as you can from Irish companies. I know I've made a commitment to buy almost everything that, like, I'm buying everything I can from Irish companies online. Bar, I know there's one thing that I haven't been able to get from an Irish company, but other than that, everything else is Irish.
I'm going to make a suggestion that maybe the three of us come up with 5 of our favourite shops.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll post them on our social medias.
Yeah, or even on the Opinion Pod Instagram or Facebook.
Just even on our personal Instagrams, just to get a few local shops out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if anyone has any suggestions about nice Irish shops?
Yeah, by all means. I think even like have like a Q&A poll or something to let people drop suggestions, and we'll list them up or something.
That'd be a great idea. So maybe 5 from the 3 of us anyway.
Yeah,
and then we'll see what generally public come up with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lovely.
So why are you buying me, Jack? And I suppose we should add that we have some exciting times in the Opinionated podcast offices.
We do.
Our own in the works.
Our own merchandise is inbound, people, and we'll have a special unveiling.
Revealed.
Yeah, we will.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
In a word,
podcast near you.
Where a podcast was delivering merch.
Yeah,
I think that's a good place to end, then, isn't it?
Excellent.
Watch the space.
It's a movie film ending.
I watched too many Michael Bay films to not do that.
The White House just explodes behind him.
You never look at those explosions.
All right, so thanks for joining us for episode 8. We hope to see you again in episode 9. And to have a look back through the podcast, we just spout on a bit, but hopefully you enjoy it. Thanks to Jack and Matthew, and you're a brilliant host. So I'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
All right.
Slán.
Adios.